Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto content. I figured, why not go live? Let's live stream today. We're going to be talking about Hedera Hashgraph and also XRP, as you guys already know. These are like my two main topics all the time, pretty much on this channel now, because these are two of the biggest assets in crypto history, right? I've talked about it multiple times. I will continue to talk about it. I will continue to tell you guys how undervalued HBAR is, because when we look at HBAR compared to any other asset in the space, it just does not get the overall recognition that it deserves. Like when we're talking about these DLT assets, you know, when a lot of people compare it to ADA, they compare it to XRP, they compare it to this, that. Like, we need to stop first off comparing assets like that, because when we look at HBAR compared to anything else, there really isn't any other asset doing what HBAR is actually doing. I understand that there's other DLTs in this space, but when we look at the transactions, the efficiency, the overall use cases behind HBAR, there is really nothing in terms of the overall value behind HBAR that no other asset in this space actually has. So, with that being said, let's actually jump into this and let's really talk about things, because we are going to be having one of the biggest bull runs in crypto history within the next 6 months at least, right? I even said, you know, by November, by December, you know, this entire market is going to be extremely different. It could just be 4 months, but typically we end up, you know, having alts run a little bit later by like February. That's pretty much where the true topping point is for most altcoins. But with HBAR, a lot of people are very upset in terms of the overall price action on HBAR. But I just don't understand it, because when we look at, you know, HBAR compared to Cardano, right? So ADA has a marketing team behind it. You know, there's a lot of marketing behind it. There's a lot of, you know, speculation, I will say, because there's actually no fundamentals that makes ADA worth the price that it actually is. And I know that that's going to, you know, make a lot of people mad. It's going to make a lot of people angry, whatever the case may be. Listen, I have been in this market for a very long time. I have not seen ADA or the entire Cardano team hold up to a single one of their overall announcements. Yeah, we're getting smart contracts this month, this year, next year, this time. Like, it's all false promises. Like, I know a lot of people compare ADA to like a Ponzi scheme because they just don't release anything. And realistically speaking, like, that's kind of what is happening with ADA. There's no actual fundamentals to make it worth its overall market cap. But when we look at HBAR, HBAR is already being utilized. One, there's massive amounts of use cases. The value that HBAR is actually going to unlock for multiple companies, corporations, enterprises, just individuals alone, is priceless. And that's exactly what we talk about in terms of this, right? Like, this is a 31x of the current price of HBAR to get to ADA's overall market cap. It will be worth $7.13 each. Now, I do know that, and if you guys do watch my past videos, and if you guys did the research on HBAR, you would understand that HBAR is coming for Ethereum's neck, right? It is going to be an Ethereum killer. It already is, in my opinion. So let's actually compare it to, for example, Ethereum, right? So in terms of Ethereum, if we hit Ethereum's market cap right now, we would be worth $38.09. So I say that we could get to $10 a lot. As a matter of fact, a lot of people say that there's no way that we're getting to $10. There's no way that we could get there because the market cap would be way too much and so forth, whatever. But when we talk about HBAR literally being an Ethereum killer, like, and it will get there at some point in time, and it will kill HBAR or Ethereum, and HBAR will be at a number 2 or number 1 spot in the future. I even tweeted about this recently, and a lot of people said, absolutely no way, top 5, sure, but not a top 1. Listen, in my opinion, HBAR is the only asset in the space that I think has the highest probability of flipping Bitcoin for the number 1 spot in the coming years by 2025 plus. So realistically speaking, when we look at HBAR hitting $10 this bull run, I really don't see it as being something that is, unprobable and it's just not realistic. I look at it as very realistic, very probable, especially considering the overall fundamentals behind the project when we look at quarter four for staking and sharding and stuff like that. Like, obviously, staking might not actually be coming in quarter four, as Lehman himself said, but we do know that sharding is going to be happening. At that point, unlimited transactions per second will be unlocked. As you guys already know, if we come over here to Dragon Glass, oh, sorry, one second. So if we go over here, we could see that we are doing massive amounts of volume in terms of transactions per second, transactions overall. We are actually about to come up on 1.6 billion transactions total. And that is actually crazy to think about, considering the fact that we've only been around for almost 2 years fully now. And in 2 years, we have done more transactions than ADA and Ethereum combined. Which is funny because ADA, again, going back to Cardano, which of course I don't hate on the project. It's just that I don't like it from a fundamental standpoint because they actually have no live fundamentals. But when we compare them to, HBAR, we already know that ADA has been around since 2017. It's been around for 4 years, and it has not even a fraction of what HBAR's overall transactions are. Now, obviously, we are up about 14% on the transaction volume on the daily, so we are seeing more ramping up of the overall ecosystem and the network. I've seen the news with some GC members just recently in terms of overall transactions. I'm going to report on that later today, but we do see that overall we're doing 26.7 million transactions a week, and people are still ignoring this. It's just comical to me. And again, even going back to XRP, right? So I know a lot of people think that XRP can't hit a $1 trillion market cap. Again, this is one of those assets that are heavily speculated. A lot of people think that, this is impossible, that's not possible. I even say, hey, we could see a $100 XRP. A lot of people still don't think that that's possible. Just going to tell you guys it is. I can tell you guys exactly how we get there too. Overall, when we look at XRP hitting $100, it would be worth about a $4.6 trillion market cap. A lot of people still think that that is not possible. Hey, that's unrealistic. The market cap's way too much. Blah, 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 whatever, right? So the overall market cap discussion and argument point for a lot of these assets, for an example, even HBAR and also XRP, the same goes into it as the overall argument basis. The overall argument basis is the idea that when we talk about market cap means absolutely nothing to these utility assets. For an example, even when I talk about XRP hitting, I don't know, like $100 to $1,000 for an example, because I know that $100 seems unrealistic to some people, but what about $1,000 XRP, right? So at that point, what will have to happen for us to get there is the HODL service being ramping up and actually moving a large, significant amount of money. When we talk about SMEs, small, medium enterprises, we talk about the idea of moving about $15 trillion worth of cash flow. When we also talk about B2B, again, it's more trillions of dollars moving over XRP. And that is exactly what we want to see, and that is exactly how we get here. Now, I know a lot of people do not want to hear this, but I'm just going to say, in order for XRP to get to $100, it's going to take more time than just overnight. It's going to happen in a year. It's going to happen in 2 years. It's none of that, right? This is going to happen by 2025 plus. I think that that is a good basis point for XRP getting there, because that's when a lot of the HODL services will be ramping up. I think by then the whole SEC stuff is going to be blown over. We'll probably have the Ripple IPO. Everything will pretty much be set in stone. Again, it all goes for HBAR too, right? So I understand that everybody has short-term targets, right? Everybody's thinking about this bull run. Where do we go this bull run? Well, I do think that we could essentially get to $10. I think $10 is totally probable. It's only a 44x, which I know a lot of people are going to say, that's crazy. A 44x? No way. 44x's happen all the time in crypto. People 100x their assets all the time. 10x is easy as well. But this is only at a $93 billion market cap, which is easily probable in this case, right? The thing is the overall basis point for HBAR getting to this price, and the overall thing that will pretty much allow it to get to this price is utilization. And I do think that utilization at some point in time is going to ramp up for HBAR, especially as we march into quarter four. I think quarter four is going to be the biggest time period for most of these assets, especially even XRP, because we do have a lot of things that's happening in quarter four of 2021. When we talk about the biggest bull run in crypto history, we all go back to Bitcoin, right? We always go back to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is king at the end of the day until it's not, right? When we talk about Bitcoin, a lot of people think that, hey, we're going to go to 200K, we're going to go to 300K, we're going to go here, there, right? Well, realistically speaking, when we talk about Bitcoin, we don't need to go that high for altcoins to really soar. For example, I think 100K is possible. I'm more so leaning towards about 75 to 85K. And I still think that we can get to the major price targets on XRP and HBAR, even with just 100K being in store or even 75 to 85K. I don't think that we need to go to 200K, 300K, and so forth, where we get a massive blow off top. I don't think that that is more so realistic. I think that is going to happen later on because we've already risen significantly. For example, on a 1 week basis, we can kind of go off of those lows in 2020. So just to give you guys a little bit of an insight, so on Bitcoin, for example, on the low of the March of 2020 drop during COVID, when COVID really started to ramp up, we do see that we've already done about a 1,600% almost. It's funny that it's 589 considering we are talking about XRP in this video as well. But when we also go to just 85K, that's basically a 2,100% of an increase in price. And for Bitcoin to increase that significantly, that's pretty crazy, to be honest with you. So I think that 85K is a good topping point for Bitcoin. I know that a lot of people say that as well. I've been saying it since, even back before February, because it just makes sense, right? When we talk about 100K being targeted for Bitcoin, the basis of it is the fact that before we even hit 100K, we'll most likely see a massive sell-off, a massive profit take, and that's pretty much where we do top off at. So before 100K, and we'll taper off. I think that that's more so realistic. Now, I think that we're still playing into this overall pattern that I've been talking about for like the past week now, where we do get that 12.63% pullback on Bitcoin down to about 44K, or 42K, I mean. I think that that is very realistic before we do go much higher into the 60Ks. Now, once that happens, we will also see XRP and we'll also see HBAR rise significantly. Same goes for HBAR though and XRP. They are both on some major supports. For example, HBAR actually bounced off of the 100-day MA perfectly as I was expecting it to. I said that we could even see 20 cents being targeted, which I would totally welcome. I will add my bag, of course, because I do still stack HBAR significantly. I still think that this is almost like buying XRP at 22 cents as well. And if you guys already know how that was happening, and when you guys were stacking at 20 cents, you guys probably were thinking that you're going to be rich anytime soon. And guess what ended up happening, right? We had that massive run to $2 nearly exact. So a lot of these assets seem to move very fast at some point in time once they disconnect from Bitcoin and start to really move. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen with even HBAR as well once people actually find out about it. For example, even when we go back here, right? So I actually just recently tweeted this out before I started live streaming. But when we talk about, name this project, we do see fundamentals and we do see recognition. This kind of goes hand in hand with ADA, right? The only reason why ADA is actually the number 3 spot is because of the massive amount of publicity that ADA was actually getting. I don't take anything from the Cardano team. Like, listen, they have a great marketing team. They actually did perfectly well to market ADA to a lot of these normie investors. The number one reason why it is on Coinbase and all these other asset or exchanges, and it is the number 3 asset. It's because a lot of these normie investors just throw their money into assets like ADA, not actually knowing anything about smart contracts or anything like that. They didn't do any research on it at all. Like, I legit seen Facebook friends that I went to school with that you would have never thought would have even graduated high school talking about ADA. So when you see that happening, you kind of run the opposite direction, right? And the same goes for ADA. Like, listen, I don't hate on it. I'm not taking anything away from anybody that holds it. I still think that it will move significantly this bull run. I just think that ADA, the only reason why it's at the position that it's in is because of marketing. And that's pretty much it. Just marketing and publicity. And again, HBAR could definitely get to that point. It could definitely get to a number 3 asset if it did have the publicity and the overall marketing that ADA does have. As you guys already know, that's a big pain point for HBAR. Now, for XRP, on the other hand, we don't need any marketing for XRP. Everybody knows what XRP is. Like, I've talked to people, you know, for example, like even my girlfriend's mom, right? She's like in her 40s and she legit knows about XRP. And she's like, I don't know if I should invest in XRP because of the whole SEC stuff. And again, the SEC stuff is actually turning a lot of people away from buying into XRP. So could you just imagine what would happen if the SEC lawsuit never existed and we were at like, I think that by now we would have definitely have been over an all-time high. I think that we'd probably be at like $5 plus right now for XRP. So could you just imagine the FOMO that would have happened on XRP by this point if the whole SEC drama wasn't actually a thing? And even going back to that, like it's all control narrative. Like, you know, if XRP never had that lawsuit, it would still be at number 2 or number 3. ADA would not be in this realm at all. It'd probably be at like number 4, number 5, somewhere around there. But it's just comical to me how much narrative is actually being played around XRP to scare like normie investors away from it. But anybody who is intelligent enough to do their own research knows that XRP's ODL service and the overall bridge asset aspect of it is really going to unlock a ton of value for us. So that's why even when we go back to this and we talk about, you know, XRP at $100 at a $4.6 trillion evaluation, it's actually not that crazy to think about at a $4.6 trillion market cap for it. I know a lot of people can't fathom that. They're just like, $4.6 trillion is way overvalued for XRP. But when you talk about how much money it's actually going to move, it's really not. Now, I do want to say there is a lot of things that are actually playing into the market psychology of this market right now. We already see the Delta variant coming out and all that stuff. You know, it's just a lot of stuff is crazy. Now, we also see the idea of a lot of people playing into the narrative of lengthening cycles with Bitcoin. So I see a lot of people saying Bitcoin's going to run all the way until who knows where, right? So like I even said, yeah, we could see Bitcoin run until the summer of 2022. Where we do see massive price evaluations for Bitcoin and pretty much massive price evaluations for all altcoins as well. Now, I personally don't believe in the whole lengthening cycle thing. I think that it is a high possibility that we could get into a lengthening cycle at some point in time when we march into a utility market, but I don't think that this is so much going to be the play here, right? So we do see here in a macro cycle context, long-term investors are still climbing towards their peak accumulation, which marks bottoms. Early signs to me that the bull market may continue into 2022, and Bitcoin is in the process of breaking free from the 4-year internal cycle from the halvings. And I don't think that that is the case, right? Like, as much as everybody else wants lengthening cycles, like trust me, I do too. You know, at that point, we'll see a massive amount of prices for these massive alts and stuff like that. But I just don't think that that is the overall case. I just think that when we talk about Bitcoin and the whole halving cycle, I think that we're still playing into the whole 4-year cycle. I think that that's more so of the case. But I will say this. Okay, and this is a warning to everybody who is in here. So first off, shout out to everybody who's in the chat. I see you guys. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about this. So when we talk about, you know, these cycles that we're in, this Bitcoin bear, you know, bull market, whatever, like I even tell people that I have invested into crypto. Like I tell pretty much everybody about crypto all the time. I tell them about HBAR. I told them about XRP. I told them about QNT, all of it, right? When we talk about the bull bear market, that stuff is not going to last forever, okay? And I've said it multiple times, and we could actually even go back to my tweet from yesterday. So when we talk about these utility markets and these massive runs that we're on and these 4-year cycles, like even here, right? So I said when Bitcoin begins the major fall from the #1 spot, it is going to open the door for many utility assets to take over. In my opinion, HBAR is one of the many that has the highest probability of taking that spot. And it does, especially when we look at how much it's already being utilized, the overall use cases behind it in terms of CBDC, CBD Cash, all that stuff. But I go back to this because at that point, we march into a utility market, a utility-driven market where the prices do just go up forever, right? Now, how do we get there? Well, First off, we need an asset like Bitcoin that has the 50+% dominance factor. So whatever asset gets to that number one spot is going to be the asset that we are going to be watching forever. Now, whether that be HBAR, XRP, or another utility asset, which I do think that XRP and HBAR have the highest probability together to get to that number one spot. But when we talk about that utility market, that is where we become absolutely rich. And I'm not saying that just so that I get you guys excited or spread, euphoria or anything like that. But that is at the point of no return for crypto, where we don't see any more bear bull markets. We just see utilization on a massive scale. And you see it all the time right now. You are seeing it all play into key. For an example, we do see here, Coinbase is setting up a $4 billion cash pile. Obviously, it's great to see, but we do see here, Coinbase has increased its cash reserves since going public in April as it looks to expand and prepare for higher compliance cost. The idea of this is because of, first off, we are marching into a massive regulation tightening of crypto and in terms of overall financial markets, right? The reason why they want regulations and the reason why they want to tax us heavily is because they know how much money is going to be in this market very soon. Think about it like this, right? Right now, HBAR is doing 1.5 billion transactions in basically a year, right? Imagine it doing 1.5 billion transactions a day because it is being utilized in fintech areas and it's used for financial services, right? Which it already is technically in terms of, FTPOS, right? But when we look at how much money will actually flow through crypto, like right now we're sitting at a 1.92. Let me refresh just to make sure everything is set up. We're looking at a $1.9 trillion market cap for crypto. Just imagine when we're at a $19 trillion market cap for crypto. And then after that, $190 trillion market cap for crypto. Because we will get there, right? We will get to the point where crypto is the number one market everywhere. Because everybody will want a piece of the pie, especially once there's no longer 11,000 assets in the space. Because once regulations and clarity actually come into the space, it's pretty much game over for a lot of these assets. But the assets that will be around, XRP, HBAR, QNT, ALBT, DAG, XDC, a lot of these assets that I talk about on a daily basis that are doing absolutely incredible things in the fintech zones and the fintech areas, right? That is where the true value lies. It doesn't lie within a Bitcoin controlled market, right? And even when we go back to that, I see it all the time. Like, for example, like a lot of people, for example, like Michael Saylor, right? He's saying, if you're trying to improve your balance sheet, my best idea is Bitcoin. If you're trying to improve your technology, my best idea is Lightning. Like, absolutely not, dude. Like, a lot of these Bitcoin maxis think that Bitcoin is like the beginning of the future for all of payments and crypto and this, that. Like, Bitcoin is so behind the scene in terms of things, right? Like, Bitcoin doesn't even recognize what is happening right now in terms of innovation. Like, XRP and HBAR could easily outperform Bitcoin any day of the week, even with this whole Lightning network that they have. And when we talk about these Bitcoin maxis, they're shilling this all the time because they have billions of dollars wrapped up in it. And they just want to get more money flowing through it. It's similar to Dogecoin. Why do you think Mark Cuban and Elon Musk are constantly shilling Dogecoin? They just want to get richer off of your dime. And then when they rug pull you, they don't care about how much you're losing. It all goes back to Mark Cuban and the Titan coin, right? There's no way that he got out at a perfect time, right? That's what he said. Oh, I got out at the perfect time. I seen that they were doing this, that, whatever. That's not the case. He rug pulled individuals. That's pretty much the end game there. And the same goes for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no utility factors behind it. It's all speculation of store value, and even then, it's all speculation and made up garbage by these influencers that need to shill Bitcoin on a daily basis to pump their bags. It goes back to even Pompliano, right? You're literally advertising Bitcoin through a pizza giveaway. Come on. It's so comical when you think about it. Like, I look at crypto as a new age technology aspect. I look at things in terms of, hey, I'm invested in utility markets that could change the future of everybody's lives. XRP could save a lot of business, a lot of corporations, a lot of enterprises, even individuals that are just making day-to-day, payments across, cross borders, a lot of money. That is a solid use case. Not, hey, you could buy a pizza with Bitcoin and pay a $30 fee. That is not use case utility at all, right? And even like we see other people, right? We do see the Moon Carl. If you guys know him, 437K on Twitter. Second layer solutions will make Bitcoin by far the best form of money that has ever been available to humans. Like, it's comical to me that people still believe this nonsense after Bitcoin has been around for over like 13 years now. Like, we've known that Bitcoin is just unsustainable for financial services. And I will go on record and say, and you guys could clip this and save it for later, but I will say right now that Bitcoin will never be utilized in terms of a financial market or financial services, because it's just not it's not possible. It's not sustainable enough, and it's not efficient enough. That is why I always go back to our two best friends. I go back to HBAR and I go back to XRP, because these are two assets that, in my opinion, have the potential to overthrow the entire market and reshape it for what it actually is. Bitcoin has been around forever, and look at the market really hasn't changed much. We need change in this market, and guess what is going to be the change? Utility. We are going to be marching into a massive bull run this year. There's no doubt about that, right? We will hit massive all-time highs. We will pump beyond what anybody actually thinks that we will go to. And again, once we get that bear market, that's totally fine. I think that that is most likely the last bear market that we will see in crypto history, because by 2025, things are going to be looking a lot different when you come over to coin market cap and you no longer see Bitcoin here, and you no longer see a lot of assets here that shouldn't even belong on the top 50, the top 100, and so forth. 11,000 cryptos in general? Absolutely not. We will basically get rid of a lot of those assets. And even when we talk about, like, yeah, I mean, even, AMP and ACH. AMP and ACH are great assets as well. Like, a lot of these fintech cryptos are not even in the top 25, not even in the top 50. And that is crazy to me, that we still see assets like Bitcoin that are ranging over the market, controlling the overall market, when we have these massive utility tokens that could be used on a huge scale. Even when we go back to the whole US accepting crypto, and they basically want to kill it, because the US has been trying to kill crypto forever, or so it seems, right? It's so extremely divided in terms of accepting crypto and pretty much adopting it and innovating with it. They need to. If they don't, they will lose the race in terms of technology and monetization through financial services. They need crypto to put them on the board, because crypto, at the end of the day, is the most efficient for financial services, especially when you look at XRP and HBAR. I'm not saying that these are my two, top picks or two favorite picks or anything like that. Like, listen, I get it. I talk about these two assets a lot. I talk about them more than I talk about any other asset. I'm extremely bullish on both of them, first off. But the reason for that being is because I think that these are the two most undervalued assets, even at their current prices in this space. And even at their all-time highs, they're still extremely undervalued. Now, we also have other assets that are going to do incredible things. XDC, DAG, AOBT, QNT, all of these other assets are doing great things as well. But when we look at HBAR, first off, if you're ignoring HBAR right now, I have no idea what you're doing with your life. Like, HBAR, I understand it. Like, the price action sucks. Trust me. Like, when I look at this chart, I just, like, I'm looking at these other assets doing massive moves, and it's just like, well, when is HBAR going to move? I see it. A lot of people ask me the same thing. When is HBAR going to move? It's not moving at all. Is it just a dead coin? People call it a garbage coin, whatever. But at the end of the day, the reason why HBAR hasn't moved yet is just because it's not ready. I mean, that's pretty much just the end game for it. We have been consolidating for so long, and a lot of assets consolidate for a very long time. But I will say right now, HBAR is one of those assets that have been consolidating for a lot longer than usual, and that means that something is building. Something is building on this asset. 155 days of total accumulation. I am totally happy holding this and accumulating throughout this entire sideways trading, because I do know what will happen next. The same goes for XRP, right? XRP consolidates. Now, lately it hasn't been consolidating for too much longer, but even when we look back here, right, 67 days, 61 days, that's like 120 days before I had this major run up to almost $2. And the same goes for any asset in the space. Like even when I was talking about Matic, like Matic was getting annoying, right? Because we already had assets that were moving pretty much day to day, doing massive 200+% runs. And here's Matic sitting sideways, doing absolutely nothing at like 30 cents. And then all of a sudden, it ran to nearly $3. And I think that that is the case even with HBAR too. Like I think HBAR is just doing this massive accumulation zone. And usually what happens after it accumulates for something like this long, where it's literally 155 days, the run after that is an absolute massive run. And once we get over like 35 cents, it's game over. Like this line here, once we break this at like 33.5 cents, I would just watch out. And yes, 100% watch for Flare Networks launching too, because Flare is going to be a really big invalidation for a lot of people who think that XRP is going nowhere, because it's going to allow XRP to truly unlock a ton of value. It's going to allow a lot of XRP holders to actually create passive income and allow a lot of XRP holders to become rich just by holding XRP. I mean, anybody who was holding XRP back on December 12th that is getting all of the airdrops, you're getting like 5 or 6 plus coins for free just for holding it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know when Flare is exactly launching. I do know that with Songbird, they did say that it's going to push back the launch date about 6 weeks. So realistically speaking, we could be seeing it in September, which I think is totally fine. Like I don't mind, getting, Flare in September. I think that that's totally fine, whatever. My only concern with the whole Flare thing is when it comes out, who knows what price it will actually be at. At that point, we could see, who knows, $2, $3, because at that point, XRP will be widely, pumped at that point. Like, would probably be at $2, I would say. Because I've been watching XRP very closely. We haven't broken key supports or any resistance points just yet. And I think that once we break above 35 cents or $1.35, I mean, that's pretty much a clear sign for us going to $2 plus on XRP. And I don't think that it's going to take too much longer. I think that that will probably happen within the span of like the middle of September, somewhere around there. And it could even happen by the end of the month, realistically speaking. Now, again, same goes for HBAR. I think that once HBAR breaks a key level here at like that 33.5 cents, I think that it's game over for anybody who thinks that HBAR is going nowhere. And I've talked about this multiple times as well on this channel. So with that being said, I mean, yeah, I think that we're ranging for a massive rally very soon. Even going back to this goes for XRP, for anybody who is in the XRP community. I mean, look at this. This guy goes, am I crazy, or does this look like it's still repeating the same pattern? And this looks very similar to me. I think that this looks great for a massive run back up. And I do think that this is what's going to be happening very shortly. This will most likely play into that whole end of August sort of play where we do get that massive run up. And I think that we are in, I think that we're pretty much in the gist of it, where we're pretty much on the cusp of a massive breakout on all altcoins. And Bitcoin, like, yeah, sure, short term, Bitcoin could be a little bit volatile, especially when we watch, stocks and stuff like that. But I'm not too concerned on short-term targets. Like, I have my long-term target set up. I know a lot of people in the XRP community, a lot of people who are holding HBAR, a lot of people that are just holding crypto in general, don't really care about short-term targets, because we already know what's going to happen long-term, and that's, a massive bull run is going to happen. But I'm very excited for the future of crypto, especially when we talk about the utility market that we basically will march into, which I do think that at that point we basically will capture a ton of money. We already see a lot of enterprise grade money is flowing into the market. We also see institutional money flowing into the market, which is great to see. Right now, like I said, the whole market is doing a volatile price action move, but we are back up about 0.72%, nothing too crazy. I still think that we go down a little bit more on Bitcoin, down to about 42K, with the lows being at 40K and also 38K. But I think after that point, I think that's where we basically will see a major rally onward to about 60K plus, because I think that will basically be the last dip on Bitcoin before we do go much higher. I mean, yeah, there will be slight pullbacks here and there, but that will be the last dip overall. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a great day or a great night. I hope that you all enjoyed this live stream. Guys, I do plan on live streaming a lot more, probably once a week at least. I don't live stream nearly as much as I should. I definitely should live stream a lot more and talk to you guys more. For everybody who is in the chat and for everybody who is watching, I do greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. I hope that everybody, like I said, has a great day or a great night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. I hope that you guys like the video. If you guys are watching the actual video, if you guys do, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Guys, this has been Nick. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope that you all have a great day. It's been Nick. Peace out.